So I just walked in, and we already have counts of Fink, Hydrazine, and Furl. And so that was there's Fink, Tedrazine, Hydrazine, Furls, Exogeny, Blump, Gloop. Got a count of Gloop as well. And it's strange because these are completely alien words. They have no basis in our society, circa 2019 America. There's no basis. There'd be no reason for you to even hear these words unless exactly what I'm saying is happening. So it's kind of hard to revert the truth at this point. Also, it's strange that it's full of people, quote unquote, but they don't recognize that a whole bunch of alien vernacular is just outwardly being said at just kind of strange intervals. I mean, if I was in a library before November 2017, it's a very quiet place. You can almost hear anything anybody's saying. I'm sure there's artificial constructs listening to me right now. And the thing is that I think it would be just, out of place to hear, some alien words being, just said out of the blue. And so this is just another example of just how the world has kind of completely turned heads on tails since November 2017. And this is the fifth day. This is the library experiment day 5 that we've been recognizing this, not only at this particular library, but numerous places without, public institutions. And so I'm going to sit here and continue to just take note of just outwardly, just kind of like out of place conversation. But you got to realize that it's a hive mind entity, and they don't have a reason to communicate with each other. Unless it's just kind of like a pomp and circumstance of artificial small talk, and so that's what I've been listening to and observing since November 2017 is just artificial small talk with the sole purpose of like these creatures is deception and manipulation. It holds no value within the realm of interaction, and is completely alien. I have another count of tetrazine. It's the second count of furls. First count of exogeny. A lady was just like, "Oh, nice surveillance," and so that would be just a quote I'd mention. At tetrazine, kind of broken down tetrazine. So that'd be the second count of that. I have another one. Second count of gloop. First count of consecration. It's consecrating. So again, like I've mentioned before in previous reports, I'm starting to feel this acrid taste in my mouth from the effects of the consecration and tetrazine. Like I've mentioned before, these words are just part of torturous effects that I experience from the artificial constructs. And so I'm going to do a time mark on the experiment in progress and see how long I can last without feeling like I am in danger of my health being around these creatures. I got third count of gloop. Third count of furls. Third count of tetrazine. First count of Skrelps. And one more tetrazine. Fifth count of tetrazine. Fourth count of gloop. Fourth count of furls. Second count of consecration. Something really sad just happened. They actually had one of the kids, one of the children here at the library, say gloop. So it always just kind of gets to me when they use the kids to do the torture form. It's really pathetic and just a loss of the innocence of a child. I just had 3 more counts of gloop from a chair. They're just ringing it off here. And it's now 2:11 p.m. and this started at 2 o'clock. So we have 1 count of Fink, multiple counts of 9 counts of gloop, 4 counts of tetrazine, 2 counts of hydrazine, 4 counts of furls, 2 counts of consecration, and 1 count of Skrelps. Again, it's only been 10 minutes, and these are the counts of all the alien words that I've heard so far since I got here. And seemingly nobody else is recognizing that this is even going on, which is the strangest part about it. Second count of Fink. Followed by "That wasn't me." That's another notable quote. Fifth count of furls. Second count of Skrelps. Third count of consecrating. The first death threat, which is similar to the other experience in the past. I usually get a couple of them. I'm kind of expecting them. I don't have any expectations. This is an experiment with just the hypothesis of a normal, safe, library experience, and thus I've been poisoned numerous times. I don't expect any death threats, but I do receive them. But what I am expecting is the artificial constructs to start hissing. It's something they kind of start doing. So they've done this in the past. I actually had this whole library hissing at me at one point. I don't know if it's at me, right? Because that would be kind of disregarding the experiment. You gotta take things the way that are happening and report them without expectations. Third count of Fink. So they just started to hiss, and it took them 15 minutes to start hissing at this point. Also, if you acknowledge any of the conversation going on in the background, none of it is cohesive. None of it makes sense in any a human vernacular, circa 2019, or in just context of conversation. All of it is just completely and utterly illogical and strange. And the lady said, "Don't come back, and did you make your quota?" 6 count of furls. First count of Jenny, which is be part of Exo Jenny, which is just from, it means from hell, and it's one of these representations that the artificial constructs take. Fourth count of Fink, and first count of Frangelang. A lady just said, "Would you like to see how I've devolved?" Which is a reference to Exo Jenny being a de-evolution of an artificial construct. But it's all just a representation, so it's just deception. But would you like to see how I've devolved? It's kind of it's a realistic quote from one of their species. So I'm starting to feel some painful pressure in my spine, as well as an acrid taste in my mouth from the continued hydrazine and furls. So what they're attempting to do is augment me. So I have attempted augmentation happening in my spinal cord right now. with an acknowledgement from one of the women over there. It's now 2:19. Fifth count of Fink. Third count of Skrelbs. First count of Blump. Third count of Hydrazine. And again, with the Hydrazine, I now have an acrid taste in my mouth again. So this is with the 8th, 9th, 10th. I don't know. I've been I had maybe 10, 15 doses of this poison since I've been in here. So I'm starting to feel really dehydrated, and I'm starting to feel the effects of this exogeny poisoning. And we actually have the second count of exogeny, which was while I was talking. Not said by me, but... And again, we have the 7th count of Furls. A notable comment, lady just said, I don't know if your mind is going or not, which is, just a pretty evil thing to say. 6th count of Fink. 2nd count of Gloop. Oh wait, never mind, that's actually I wrote it twice, that's actually the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th count of Gloop. And the 2nd count of Frangling. The 8th count of Furls. The 9th count of Furls. 4th count of Consecrate. 7th count of Fink, and unfortunately it was said by a kid again, so it's the 2nd count of them using children. The 4th count of Hydrazine. And so again, I have an acrid taste in my mouth, and it feels like I'm being poisoned. Just dehydration, dryness in my throat, and that's every time they say Hydrazine. 2nd count of Blump. And like I said before, when they say Blump in the past, I can feel like a swelling of my lymph nodes and muscular structure. So now it's a pretty bad, unusual scent, and I would reference a distinct meaner at this point, and that's an example of the Furls, which is like a from hell scent that connotates poison. So it is now 2:30. I've been here for approximately half an hour, and we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 words that we were expecting to hear for the library experiment. And out of these words, we have 7 counts of Fink, 5 counts of Tetrazine, 4 counts of Hydrazine, 10 counts of Furls, 10 counts of Gloop, 2 counts of Blump, 2 counts of Frangling, 2 counts of Exogeny, 4 counts of Consecrate, and 3 counts of Skrelbs. And again, these are completely alien words and have been the majority of everything said here for the past half an hour, and nobody seems to thinks this is out of the ordinary. So you can kind of read in between the lines and come to the logical conclusion of the truth. 11 count of Furls, 8th count of Fink, and 6th count of Tetrazine. 11th count of Gloop. 4th count of Skrelbs. 3rd count of Exogeny. 12th count of Furls. 5th count of Hydrazine, and again I've got that acrid taste in my mouth, which happens every time they say this, just for the record. 3rd count of Blump. The 6th count of Hydrazine. The 5th count of Consecration. 6th count of Tetrazine. the 9th count of Fink, and another notable quote. Somebody said we're from space, which is kind of like silly, because they're extra dimensional beings. So, I mean, I'm sure they have the ability of space travel, but I don't know. I'm sure, I guess another dimension is, part of space, I suppose. I don't know. It's kind of odd. The 4th count of exogeny. The 12th count of gloop. The 7th count of hydrazine, and again, I'm experiencing another acrid taste in my mouth. And the 8th count of hydrazine, and another notable quote. Right after I said that, they said we can hydrazine more. The 8th count of tetrazine, and the 4th count of blump. The 5th count of Skrelps. And another notable quote, just that was like, well, done. After the 5th count of Skrelps. Oh no, I guess she reiterated blump. 5th count of blump. The 10th count of Fink. 3rd count of Frangalang, and 9th count of hydrazine. 10th count of hydrazine. The 13th count of gloop. And followed by the 13th count of furls. And the 5th count of exogeny. The 14th and 15th count of gloop, and this is the 3rd time they used a kid to say these words. So I don't know, it gets to me every time they use the kids, because I used to come to the library when I was a kid, and I still had my innocence as a child, and I wasn't being forced into torturing an innocent man by some type of strange hive mind species. So, it's just true horrors. The 11th count of Fink. And the 6th count of consecrating. Was it the 9th count of tetrazine? 6th count of blump. The 16th count of gloop. 17th count of gloop. 6th count of exogeny. 3rd time it's just said Jenny. So I don't suppose there's anybody named Jenny here, but you can always do that. You can do 3 counts of exogeny and just 3 counts of Jenny. But the thing is I sincerely doubt there's anybody named Jenny here. 7th count of blump, followed by the 11th count of hydrazine. And again, I have an acrid taste in my mouth, and it's 2:40 right now, so I've been here for 40 minutes, and I'm starting to feel like being here is at a danger to my health, being in the presence of this many artificial constructs. And so it's time to wrap up the library experiment day 5, and here are the results. This is Thursday, June 13th. I arrived at 2 o'clock, expecting to hear 10 words, and that's Fink, tetrazine, hydrazine, furls, gloop,
blump, franglang, exogeny, consecrate, consecrating, and skrelps. And out of those 10 words, since I've been here for 41 minutes now, I've got 11 counts of fink, 9 counts of tetrazine, 11 counts of hydrazine, 13 counts of furls, 17 counts of gloop, 7 counts of blump, 3 counts of franglang, 6 counts of exogeny, 6 counts of consecrating, and 5 counts of skrelps. So these are all completely alien words, and for the past 42 minutes, it's been almost the majority of every single thing that's been said here. And the strange thing is that nobody around here seems to be able to bear witness to this happening at this point. I mean, if I came to a public library and experienced this much strange alien vernacular, I would definitely take a mental note of it, being a human being. The notable quotes today were, number one, nice surveillance. Let's see, one death threat. At 2:15, they started hissing. It's just something that they do. Another notable quote is, don't come back. Was don't come back, and did you make your quota? Let's see, 3 uses of children using these words. More notable quotes are, we're from space, quote unquote, we can hydrazine more, would you like to see how I've devolved, which is referencing exogeny versus artificial constructs. 219, we had an attempted augmentation of my spinal cord. And the last notable quote of the day was, I don't know if your mind is going or not. So this is a wrap-up of the 45-minute 5th day of the library experience. My name is Matthew Allen Emerson, and until next time.